And a bit of a welcome, just in case anybody's not been on these webinars before. My name's Emma, and I'm the Partnerships Manager at Sustainable Events Limited. And Sustainable Events Limited is a global consultancy, and we work one-on-one with our clients around the world. We work in many different countries, from Japan, Australia, the US, Europe. So we really do have a lot of experience in working with different organizations. We implement with those clients ISO 20121, which is the global standard for an events sustainability management system, which is what we're talking about. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that before. And our managing director, Fiona, was the chair of that standard when it was being created. So we are global leaders in this space. We tend to work with our clients through a collaborative design approach, meaning that what we have a really straightforward 6-step strategy that we use, but we like to work with our clients to sort of tailor that and design that to what they need and what they require and what they're looking for from this. So that's a bit of a background. If you want any more information, that is my email on the screen, which hopefully you can all see, and we can get started. So ISO 20121 is all about, it's a fantastic culture, it's a fantastic sustainability standard, and it's all about introducing a culture change within your organization. So that is the standard we use. That's a picture of the standard itself, but there's a lot more to it than just a load of words on a piece of paper. And hopefully you can tune into our other webinars and see what we've been talking about in reference to that. There is a series, so I will share those with people if they ask me to. I'm happy to do that. Now, once you have made the decision to implement ISO 20121, that's a fantastic thing. That's something, first of all, to be commended. But often there are other decisions to be made, and this can be a really, really significant one. And that is the decision of whether you will implement ISO 20121 in-house with your internal team, or whether you will explore the idea of working with an external consultant and an external team on this. So I'm going to give examples from us, as that is the experience that we have. So most of the conversation today will be from the point of view of Sustainable Events Limited. Now, obviously, we are one of the choices of consultants that you could choose to work with. But what we want to talk about is why you would choose to work with an external team when it can often initially be cheaper to work on ISO internally. Obviously, if you don't have to hire consultants, you're going to not be spending that money. But there are a number of reasons, and we want to share with you these reasons, as they can greatly affect the way you implement ISO. It can greatly affect the engagement from staff, and it can greatly affect the way people interact with the standard. And also it can really, really, really affect the way that the team respond to the culture change that comes with ISO 20121. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm just going to change my slide. So the first thing that can be affected by your choice of working with an external consultant or working internally is the commitment that's given by an internal team to the implementation of ISO 20121. So it can often be found that when a client hires us and we come and deliver one of our 4 specially designed ISO 20121 workshops at their headquarters, those people that are invited to these workshops and those who are able to attend and turn up really do commit, and they really do commit those 3 hours to what they've been asked to engage in and support. And as I said, we have 4 workshops that we run through with ISO 20121, and we have an entire webinar actually on those workshops, and we dip into them and find out a bit of the content from each one. But when we do deliver those workshops, the people turn up and the people are engaged and they listen. And sometimes in this situation where it's an internally led meeting, often the attendance will be lower, and no-shows can often be a common occurrence. And there are a couple of reasons for this, and some of them you may think are obvious. So working with, for example, external consultants mean that people understand that there is a significant investment in this ISO 20121 project. The internal team understand that this meeting will not be repeated because that would cost more money to the organization. And people understand that this is actually an opportunity to be learning from global experts and to be learning from people who specialize in this. And there's also the added pressure from the we call them the sustainability champion, who is leading on this as they communicate about the investment and relationship that is being developed to implement the standard. So they could say, you know, we're working with Sustainable Events Limited. They're a global leader. They work with organizations around the world. And they do, you know, as the person that has decided to work with us, they do have that pressure to have people be engaged. So it's a good amount of pressure, I would say. And to put it in real life circumstances, because that always helps. If you have paid to attend an event versus if you have registered to attend a free event, and you're feeling tired or it's raining outside, you're much more likely to still go to the paid event, whereas it is much easier to justify cancelling the free event. And it is it's the same basically when bringing an external team in versus using John, for example, John, the events manager, holding a weekly meeting. So that's just something to bear in mind. And equally, on the subject of commitment, if an external team are hired to implement ISO 2012-1, that is their sole focus within your organization. They know what they're being paid to deliver and achieve, and they want to engage and motivate your internal team to achieve that. Whereas if, like I said, John from the events team is in charge of the whole program, he also has a million other things on his plate, which A, could get muddled with the ISO 2012-1 conversations. So people in the workshop, when they're supposed to be focusing on X, could be asking about Y. And B, this could distract him from the regular ISO 2012-1 meetings. So an external team with one clear focus coming in and no distraction from other tasks is a much more reliable, efficient, and dedicated leader when it comes to ISO 2012-1. And we as an organization are very, very proud of the way that we keep people focused and engaged in ISO 2012-1. So yeah, we have seen it before where people have just become lost in the internal conversation when they're supposed to be focusing on this new program, because sometimes that's a little bit easier. Now, the next factor I wanted to talk about is time. This is often affected by the choice of using a team such as ours or keeping this in-house. We all know the event industry is a time poor industry. I'm sorry, but it is. None of us have enough time. And often there is a season or a time of the year that's particularly busy with events. And if you're working on the season or those events, and if you're working on that internally, in addition to the ISO standard, it can mean that big gaps can be created in your ISO implementation. And therefore, that can affect the completion of the implementation of ISO 2012-1. The flow can become interrupted, people can become disengaged, and you may not be able to achieve your certification goals. So, for example, if you wanted to go for third-party certification, then you may have to do this on an annual basis. And if something gets interrupted, it gets put off, you're then not actually delivering an annual certification. But on the other side, if you're giving the responsibility of planning to an external consultant, they will have realistic and clear guidelines as to what can be achieved. So at Sustainable Events, for example, we have an entire program plan that we will build and create for the client, and that will provide timelines, and it will have incorporated any major events or team meetings that the client wishes to involve or to consider. We can also provide a roadmap for up to 5 years that can be created, providing you with a really clear vision of where you want to get to, and we can engage with your interested parties and stakeholders on that, so that you have a nice vision of where you're headed and you're not just implementing ISO for the sake of it. We've worked with businesses and organizations like yours time and time again, so that we really do have a realistic view of the time you need and how much time is actually feasible for the client to do. So we know that people don't have much time, so if we can try to incorporate their ISO 2012-1 meetings into something else that's happening, then that's a really, really effective way of getting people in a room and getting everybody on the same calendar. We also know that, you know, it might take 12 months to implement the first year of ISO 2012-1. And we know how much time is required. So per workshop, we know X amount of time is required. Is there homework? Yes. Is there homework? No. Whatever it may be, we can calculate that and provide people with a real clear strategy and a managed plan. So, as a global leader in the implementation of ISO 201, we at Sustainable Events Limited have the expertise and network to successfully support our clients through the entire process from start to finish. And as an external team that focuses on ISO every single day in our job roles, we have the knowledge of best practice, we have effective solutions, and we have that all from within the event industry to help you be successful in this. So as an example, at Sustainable Events, we have a global team of associates, who are all trained by us, but each of them have their own individual expertise in different areas. So, for example, we work with the electronic race series, Formula E, like Formula One, but electronic. And for their stakeholder engagement meeting, we brought in an associate to work on that who had a great experience in sports and sustainability. And Formula E were really, really thrilled with how it went and how the room was engaged and how everybody actually learned a lot during that session. We also have other associates who are more focused on, for example, event legacy or venues or the supply chain. So we really do have a great portfolio of people working in our team, and we have built these up over the last number of years. So we really, really do know what we're talking about and who we can provide for you. Now, 10 years of experience implementing ISO 201 with global clients of all different types and all different sizes realistically cannot be compared to an internal team member that has purchased the standard itself. And respect to those that do, we absolutely think it's incredible if anyone is implementing ISO 201, but that is just the reality. And when things sometimes, which often they do in any type of project or any type of work and day-to-day, sometimes things become difficult, and it takes the experience and the calmness of an external consultant to bring perspective and solutions to that situation. So that is, that is where our expertise and our forte comes in. Now, lastly, we are going to look at how we as an external consultant can support you in bringing something very valuable, particularly with ISO 201, and that is the power of external perspective. So as we are not part of your everyday team, we don't know the ins and outs, we don't know all of your operations, we can observe things objectively. And it means that we can provide an external view on things where, as if John from the events team leading, he's internal, he may only be able to view things subjectively. So he may not be able to see things or potentially, detect things that we can see. And there is also the possibility of politics from within a business affecting the way of working. And this can be detrimental to, the amazing culture that ISO 201 can bring when being implemented. So having that outside experience, that outside perspective can really add value to your implementation. And it can also bring new and different solutions when you're implementing ISO 201. So as the independent objective party, our change management skills are enhanced. It means that we can provide you with the optimum support and guidance. And that's definitely an important aspect when you are implementing ISO 201. Now, today was a pretty short and sweet webinar, but if you're keen to learn more, and if anyone's just joined and thought, oh, I've missed it, this is being recorded and we will send it out, and magically the PowerPoint has worked, so that's we can send out the PowerPoint and the recording together, which is fantastic. But if you are keen to learn more, please set up a call with myself. We would love to talk to people who are serious about implementing ISO 201 and who do need advice. We also have a Facebook group which could actually be really useful in terms of connecting with people and learning about what we're doing. We post in there very often with different solutions and ideas. At the moment, we're talking a lot about the Sustainable Development Goals. So you can either search for sustainable events in groups on Facebook, or you can use the link on the screen now. Also, Twitter is a good place to keep up to date with our webinars and any education that we're following, and that is in the bottom right hand corner of the screen now. If you're listening and you're thinking, I really want to do this, but I'm struggling to get the budget for it, we can also help with that. And we do have another webinar that talks about gathering internal support. But we do understand the business case for this, and we want to see the creation of a sustainable event industry. So we want to work with you. So thank you everybody for listening, and I will be back in a month's time with another webinar on hopefully useful information to encourage the industry to step forward, show leadership, and implement ISO 2012-1. So thank you everybody, and I will speak to you all in a month. Have a very happy